All right, future chemists, welcome! Today we're going to tackle a topic that's not just a guaranteed hit on your SPM exam, but it's also something you see every single day. We're talking about food additives. So let's get right into it and make sure you can absolutely crush any question they throw at you.
So have you ever thought about this? You make some homemade bread. It's amazing for a day or two. And then bam, it turns into this furry green science project. But then you've got a jar of jam that's been in the pantry for, well, let's just say a long time, and it's still perfectly fine. What's going on there? What's the secret sauce?
Well, the answer, as you probably guessed, is chemistry. It all comes down to the science of food additives. These are the little chemical secrets that solve all those everyday mysteries, from keeping food fresh to making it taste and feel right.
Yeah, you can really think of food additives as a chemist's secret toolkit. They are absolutely essential in today's food world, and for you, knowing your way around this toolkit is a non-negotiable for the SPM exam. So in this explainer, we're going to give you the exact framework you need to solve pretty much any question you'll face on this topic.
Okay, so let's put on our lab coats for a second. What exactly are food additives? I mean, we see that phrase on food labels all the time, right? But what does it really mean from a chemistry point of view?
Right. Here's the textbook definition you've got to know. Basically, food additives are just ingredients. They can be natural or synthetic that are added to food for two main reasons. First, to protect it and stop it from going bad, and second, to improve it, to make it look better, taste better, or have a better texture.
Now, obviously, you can't just throw any old chemical into our food. That's where the law steps in. To keep consumers safe, Malaysia has the Food Act of 1983. This is super important. It's the law that makes sure our food is safe to eat and that the labels tell the truth. Think of it as the official rulebook for using that chemist toolkit we talked about.
Okay, let's get to the good stuff, the part that's actually going to earn you marks in the exam. We're about to break down the most common types of additives you'll see in SPM questions, and I'm going to show you the secret keywords that basically just give the answer away.
First on our list is the hero from our bread and jam story at the beginning, preservatives. And you definitely want to pay attention here because this is one of the most common categories they love to test.
So what's their job? Simple. Think of preservatives as tiny little security guards for your food. They stand at the door and stop any troublemakers, things like bacteria and fungi, from getting in and spoiling the party. That's how they extend the shelf life, and that's exactly why your jam lasts forever. A couple of classic examples you need to have in your back pocket are benzoic acid and sodium nitrate.
All right, let's look at this in action with a real past-year question. The question talks about bread getting moldy. See that? That's your trigger word. The second you see mold or spoilage in an SPM question, your brain should just scream preservatives. This is a classic pattern. Recognize it and you've got a free mark.
Okay, moving on to our next major player in the food additive world, antioxidants. These guys are super important, especially for any food that has fats or oils in it.
So if preservatives are the security guards, then antioxidants are like the personal bodyguards, but specifically for fats. Their whole job is to protect fats and oils from oxidation. That's the chemical reaction that makes fatty foods like chips or biscuits get that awful stale taste. When they go rancid? The most famous antioxidant of all? Ascorbic acid, which you probably know better as vitamin C.
And here we go, another real exam question. What's used to stop crackers from turning rancid? There it is, that's the magic word. Rancid is a massive flashing neon sign that points directly to one answer. Antioxidant. See, once you know the pattern, these questions are actually pretty easy. Okay, this slide right here is your golden ticket. Seriously, it's your cheat sheet for the exam. Go ahead, pause, and take a screenshot of this. Just burn it into your brain. See mold or spoilage? Think preservative. See rancid or oxidation? Think antioxidant. Texture or thick? That's a thickener. Taste or flavor? That's a flavoring. If you master these connections, you are well on your way to getting these questions right every single time.
Now, speaking of flavorings, let's zoom in on a special category that, I'm not going to lie, often trips students up. We're talking about esters. These are the cool organic compounds that give a lot of foods and candies those awesome fruity smells and tastes, like banana or pineapple.
So you'll often get a question that throws a big, scary-looking structural formula at you, just like this one, and asks you to name it. This molecule here is pentyl butanoate, and it's what gives things that artificial banana flavor. I know, it looks complicated, but trust me, there's a super simple way to break it down.
Okay, listen up. Here's the 3-step code cracking method. Now, the number one mistake students make here is mixing up which part is the alcohol and which part is the acid. So let's make this crystal clear. Step 1. Find the alcohol part. Look for the carbon chain that's connected to the single-bonded oxygen. You see it? Just the O. In our example, that chain has 5 carbons, so it came from pentanol. Step 2. Find the acid part. This is the chain that has the carbon double bonded to an oxygen, the CEO group. Here, that chain has 4 carbons, so it came from butanoic acid. Got it? Now for the easy part. Step 3. Just mash the names together. The alcohol part, pentanol, becomes pentyl, and the acid part, butanoic acid, becomes butanoate. Put it together, pentyl butanoate. Simple. Just practice this a few times and I promise it'll click.
Okay, so we've established that food additives are super useful, but it begs the question, are they all safe? And this is where we need to have a balanced perspective and why those regulations we mentioned earlier are so crucial.
Look, it's a fact that taking in excessive amounts, and that's the keyword excessive, of certain additives has been linked to potential health problems. This is exactly why the Food Act 1983 exists. It's not about banning things, it's about setting strict legal limits. This ensures that the amounts we get in our food are tiny and well within safe levels. So the big idea here is that it's all about a balance between the benefits additives provide and the potential risks, and that balance is managed carefully by the law.
All right, so we've covered the main ideas, we've nailed down those all-important keywords, and we've even demystified those tricky ester formulas.
So, what's the next step for you?
Well, the final step is always putting it into practice. You can't just know the theory, you have to apply it. You need to do it again and again until it's automatic. That's where real confidence for the exam comes from. It comes from practice.
And hey, here's how you can do just that. Go ahead and scan the QR code right here on the screen. It'll take you straight to MCQSPM.com. Or you can download the MCQ SPM app where you can find hundreds of past year SPM questions on this topic and more. You can test yourself on everything we just talked about, figure out what you're good at, find any weak spots, and really build up that exam day confidence. Thanks for joining me, and get practicing.